Welcome to Unpacking Brain Drama. Pratiti Pathak here, resilience life coach, your guide on this self-discovery, self-empowerment journey. I am super excited to be here with you guys. I've just been speaking all over the place today. Little update last week. I apologize I wasn't here. If you're anywhere on the East Coast or close to me in Pennsylvania, you know the weather's been super, super cold this winter, which is great, though not so great for some heating and plumbing. I had pipes burst in my house, so it was just too much to deal with last week for me to be here. But I want you to know I missed you so, so much. So, we are deep diving into February, and as you guys know, I just love my Trailblazer book clubbers that are enjoying all the books that we're doing. And this week, I want to talk about something that there's lots of misconceptions around, right? Which is courage. And this episode is specifically about how courage isn't loud. The quiet bravery of choosing yourself is just that. It's quiet, right? Um, I want to talk about courage, but not the kind that looks impressive on the outside, right? We're talking about the quiet courage, the internal courage, the kind that no one applauds. I just did a talk today and everybody clapped at the end of it. That's not the kind that I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the cultural myth of courage, right? We've been conditioned to believe that courage looks like bold moves, fearless confidence, right? Dramatic exits, unwavering certainty. But most real courage doesn't look like that at all. Most of it feels exactly like what I felt this morning when I was speaking in front of everybody. It feels shaky, right? People always tend to think like, oh my gosh, you are so confident when you're up there. And I'm like, I am literally shaking in my shoes and sweating, right? That's mostly what courage feels like. It feels private, it feels internal. And that's why people underestimate it, right? What does quiet courage actually look like? It looks like telling the truth instead of keeping the peace. It looks like setting a boundary without explaining it. Slowing down when the hustle feels safer, right? Changing direction without external permission. Who's done that? Choosing alignment over approval, right? These choices don't come with validation. Actually, they usually, most of the time, come with discomfort. So, why does choosing yourself feel so dangerous? For most of us, choosing ourselves triggers something in us. And usually, that feeling that it triggers isn't anything that feels good. It usually feels something like guilt or fear or anxiety. Why? Why does it feel so bad? Because at some point we learned that love is conditional. Even though we are taught to unconditionally love, think about it. Even when we were growing up, it's like, when you do that, it makes mommy sad. If you be a good boy or a good girl, you'll get a treat, right? It's almost like I will love you more if I will love you unless, right? There's conditions to it, right? And when we learn that love is conditional, or belonging requires self-abandonment, right? That's the people pleasing part. Being good means being agreeable, right? Choosing what the rest of us are choosing. So when you choose yourself, your nervous system gets all jacked up, right? It automatically says, this feels risky, even when it's right. I can't tell you how many years I considered myself the black sheep, or I was considered as the rebel, or the child that was difficult or wasn't doing it right, right? Culturally. And it's because even though I was actually taking the risk, my nervous system was so jacked up, even when it felt right, like deep down inside, right, intuitively, even though on the surface it felt terrible. So I want to help you just like reframe that whole situation, because discomfort is not a warning sign. Discomfort doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Most of the time, it means you're doing something unfamiliar, which is automatically uncomfortable, right? Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to stay with yourself long enough through the fear. Because here's I've said this in the past. Fear, yes, but along with fear, I grew up with a lot of shame and blame, right? Usually shaming and blaming myself. And I will say that shame is and has been for me and continues to be one of the most challenging and difficult emotions to process, right? Because I have to sit with myself long enough to see myself on the other side of it, right? I have to sit through the shame, through the blame, through the fear, through the discomfort, right? Discomfort, I always say, is the currency for growth. You don't get to evolve or grow without it. Sorry, friends, just doesn't happen that way. Here's a truth for many people that need to hear this. Okay, you are not selfish for choosing yourself, right? So many times, I mean, I think I have an episode actually on this channel that is called self-care is not selfish, because when you choose yourself, we tend to think that we're not choosing somebody else, so we're being selfish if we're doing something just for us and it isn't benefiting anybody except for us. That is a misnomer. You are not selfish for choosing you. As a matter of fact, you are doing everybody else a complete disservice when you don't choose yourself first. Okay, when you don't love yourself, you're not dramatic, you're not being difficult, you're learning to stop betraying yourself, right? That self-betrayal just to feel safe. And that is actually bravery. Okay, so here's the thing. I know this is a quick one today, but reflection, okay, this is where I want you to pause. Okay, when you hear yourself, I want you to just pause and ask yourself this: where am I being invited to choose me? Quietly, honestly, without any justification, without any approval, without any permission. Not out loud, right? Not loudly, not perfectly, just honestly, truthfully, and coming from a place of authenticity. Okay, and this is where I talk about um, your core values and how important they are, because when you're very clear on what you want out of your own life, decisions become easy. Okay, I talk about autopilot a lot, and that rinse and repeat, but here's an example of that. I know you guys have heard me say this so many times. um, what do you actually want at the end of your life? Okay, regardless of where you are, whether you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like me. I'm closer to 60 now than I am 50. That's crazy to me, because I don't feel um, that age, and I also don't feel that I look that age. I don't definitely don't feel that I act that age. But when you are clear on what you want at the end, like for me, I want longevity. I do want to live a long life, right? I want longevity, but I want it in a pain-free body, which is why I take super good care of my health, physically, mentally, emotionally, because all of it contributes to physical health. um, and I also want it without prescription pills, right? Everybody knows on this channel that I'm a very holistic person. I have a holistic approach to everything. So many times you hire me as a coach, you think you got a shaman. That's just what I love. Okay, but I want longevity in a pain-free body without medication. When I know that in my core, that's what I truly want, and I align myself with that, then decisions become really easy. Decisions on what? Decisions on what to eat and what not to eat, right? What to put in my body and what to keep out of my body, what to put in my brain and what to keep out of my brain, because that all contributes to my longevity, right? I'm not somebody who watches the news, not just every day. I don't watch it at all. And I know there's a lot of people in my life that are like, how are you going to know what's going on? I will always know what's going on because people are always talking about it and people tell me. If it's important enough, I will know, right? Choosing yourself doesn't always feel empowering right away. You know, in the beginning, it feels like you're going against the grain, you're going against everybody around you, because people generally, they say they want you to be successful, but when you evolve, they have to own up to, they take a look at themselves. It's 11:11, by the way, right now. It forces people around you, when they see you having tons of growth, right? Everybody's on a different personal growth journey. Some people aren't on it at all. And those are the people that are usually telling you how to live your life, when they're probably not doing a whole lot with their own, right? So choosing yourself doesn't always feel empowering right away. It usually does not, right? Most of the time, it feels very lonely, right? Because you feel like you're on that path by yourself, and you are. Even if you're with a partner, right? For young folks, even when you're with a partner that you're choosing, and they also want growth just like you, they want the same types of success as you, want to evolve the same way that you want to. They want to expand their vocabulary, their emotions, all of the things. You're still going to be on you're going to be on separate paths, just because it's not that it's separate paths, but maybe, you're not going to move at the same pace, is what I'm really trying to say here. So it can still feel lonely, or, you feel like you're behind, or you need somebody else to catch up. That's all things to navigate around, and that's all things to manage your mind around, because it's just not true, right? It's just, we are all living out our own journey, creating our own paths. That's why I call everybody in my life that wants this for themselves trailblazers, because that's exactly what you're doing. You are blazing your own trail, and it feels amazing and terrible at the same time, right? It feels uncertain. It makes you self doubt. It makes you think, like, am I doing the right thing? It makes you question yourself. But what do I always say? Curiosity is a superpower, right? That's the most amazing thing you can offer yourself, is get curious. Like, oh, I wonder why I'm feeling this way. I wonder what I'm thinking. I wonder why I'm doing what I'm doing. I wonder how I've created this result for myself, right? And then just take that right back up the ladder. What was I thinking? What was I feeling? What was I doing or not doing? And when it comes to action, inaction, reaction, just know there's two different kinds. There's a physically you're doing or not doing something or reacting. And then there's the mental way, where you're ruminating about it. You're having this internal dialogue with yourself, this internal war, if you will. Sometimes it feels that way. At least it has for me, right? It feels like I'm not doing it right. But over time, something shifts. And that shift will be, you trust yourself more. Your nervous system settles down and eventually stabilizes. And it doesn't mean that it won't get jacked up again. I know for sure, if I happen to catch a glimpse of a building burning or a house burning, or somebody, screaming, yeah, my nervous system is going to immediately get jacked up. But the more you learn to trust yourself, slow down, calm down, and keep your vibrational frequency high, your nervous system stabilizes much faster when things get out of control like that, right? Your relationships become not just clearer, but cleaner, right? Your life becomes lighter. And I think that's such a just a phenomenal, wonderful, beautiful, yummy place to be, right? Your life just feels so much more delicious when um, you're loving it, right? It makes you want to dance and sing more. So Here's what I want to leave you guys with. And I said, I know this is going to be a fast one. We're usually here like double the time, though. I have a few things to share with you. Number one, you do not need to prove anything to anyone. You don't even actually have to prove it to yourself. But if you're anything like me, I want to emphasize and remind us all, including myself, that life is always going to offer us experiences that are not in our control, right? That's why the very first part of our formula is the circumstance, just the neutral facts, the things that we have zero control over, like planes crashing into buildings, like the government, the weather, other people. I know we want to control other people. I'm with you. And if we could do it, I'm all in because there's so many that I'd love to control. Though that's not a thing. We have zero control over other people, right? And the other part of that is the only thing you can control is you and the way you choose to think about something. And I just want to remind you guys, your thoughts are a choice. You get to decide what you want to think about anything. And you can't just go from like, I suck at this to I got this, right? You can't go from I hate my body to I love my body. Those types of affirmations won't work. You have to go through a bridge thought. You know, you got to bridge that thought. It's a ladder thought, right? From here to there, you got to create a rung in between. All right. It's a neutral thought that you have to go through. And sometimes that just sounds like I hate my body to I have a body. And you got to work your way over to I love my body. My body is able to learn new things. I'm able to change habits, right? I think that that sentence, I can learn something new, can almost apply to so many things. I know it did for me, right? I kept telling my brain, or my brain kept telling me that I sucked at social media marketing. You suck at social media marketing. And for as long as I said that to myself, I did, right? I couldn't go from I suck at it to like, I'm amazing. I got this. It's good. No, it's like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, but that's because we never did it. Yeah, but I've never done it. I know. That means I know. That's why we don't know what we're doing because we haven't done it. So I had to go to something that a sentence that my brain could believe. I can learn something new. I can learn how to market on social media. My brain would believe me because my brain was like, okay, well, you're smart. You've learned other things in the past, right? And then from there, I can actually take action that takes me closer to learning something new. I can watch some tutorials. I can ask for some help. I can hire somebody to coach me and help me. But for as long as I tell myself I'm terrible at it, I'm going to feel terrible. I'm going to feel incompetent. I'm going to feel unprofessional. I'm going to feel dumb. And from there, I won't be able to actually take action. I'll do the opposite, is I will avoid it, right? Inaction, complete inaction, or I won't be consistent, right? Or I'll withdraw, or I'll do other things instead, right? So just the one thought changes everything. So you don't have to prove anything to yourself or anybody else, right? Nothing to prove. You don't have to be louder, right? In order to be heard and seen. Sometimes softer is louder, right? And you definitely do not need anybody's permission, right? You do not need somebody else to accept what you're doing or like what you're doing or certainly give you be allowed to do it. Or you don't need permission. You just need to stay connected to what's going on internally for yourself. Okay, so I want to thank you guys as always for tuning in, Trailblazers. And I'm so honored to share this with you. And I will drop the link in the comments. March 4th, my collaborative anthology that I am a co-author in, Breaking the Silence, Volume 4. It is 20 authors. I am honored to be one of them. and I got to break my silence and share something very deep and vulnerable and intimate about my life with the rest of the world in print. The book is coming out on March 4th, and the pre sale is going on right now. Just launched yesterday, which is amazing. And at the end of March, and I will be talking about it more, and at the end of March, March 30th, I will be in Tampa, Florida, launching that book and starting a little mini book tour. So that's going to be so amazing. And I'm super excited for it. So until next time, Trailblazers, live your life by design, not by default, and keep creating those consistent results that you want in your life because you choose them and not because somebody else is choosing them for you. So please, please, please stay tuned every single time. I look forward every single week to being with you guys, and